Ransomware group provides decryption tool but still threatens to sell health data.
Hey, Chris. Sounds like ransomware is in the news yet again. What's the story you have for us today?
Yeah, so this is a particularly interesting story. So the Conti ransomware group attacked Ireland's health service. They also attacked the Department of Health too in Ireland, but the Department of Health was able to block the attack. However, the HSE, the Ireland Health Services, they actually had to take all their systems offline due to this ransomware attack. But this one's particularly interesting because the ransomware group actually gave the Decryptor tool. So they pretty much said, here's the Decryptor tool, you can decrypt your files. However, you still need to pay us $20 million unless you want us to share all this stolen data we have. So, so even though the encryption, they gave the tool up, they're still kind of trying to get some ransom out of you. At the same time, like, what's the kind of point of doing the ransomware attack if you're just going to give them the tool and just still say you're going to sell their data? You can just steal their data. But I just thought it was kind of interesting.
I wonder if it's the backlash from the Colonial Pipeline incident, where, at least, right, I think we all heard the stories that on various forums, talk of ransomware or targeting specific industries is no longer sanctioned or allowed, or even to be discussed on certain forums. So I wonder if the adversaries are kind of pivoting away so that they're compliant with their, these underground forum communities, that they don't raise the ire of law enforcement, or draw the ire, I guess. And at the same time, they're still trying to monetize the incident.
Yeah, so I was considering that they might have felt some pressure because we know the dark side group that did attack the Colonial Pipeline, that their crypto wallet was drained by some unknown actor and that their servers were also taken offline. So there could be some potential fear from this group who just wants to get in and out and try to get paid without kind of trying to disrupt and kind of get on the bad side of entire government here. But it looks like the Ireland Department, the government of Ireland is still not going to pay the ransom, and they are kind of evaluating the decryptor tool right now to make sure it's going to actually do what they expect and not just trigger another ransomware attack. But if the attackers in this case kind of go through with their threat, it looks like about 700 gigabytes of patient data will get kind of thrown throughout the dark web.
Yeah, it's all of that personal information that is the nasty part of this. Hopefully, if you have decent backups, you should generally be able to recover from ransomware attacks. Obviously, we've seen too many cases in recent days, and the Colonial Pipeline being just the most recent one, where it did actually cause issues, and not just the company's internal IT stuff kind of thing, but real problems for real people. And I'm wondering if that's why they gave the free decryptor here, is if all the, would it have put people's lives at risk to have these systems shut down for any length of time? Maybe that's why they decided to give the decryptor out. They didn't want the backlash if people started dying as a result. Maybe not. I just a thought that had occurred to me.
Yeah, I feel like it's way too often that these industrial systems like Colonial Pipeline and kind of how these health services and hospitals keep getting attacked just because they're so they're so important that being down just for a couple days is pretty detrimental to some people. So they are kind of easy targets for these attackers.
I wonder what we're going to do as a society going forward about all this data that's collected on us and then stolen and then posted out there. I know right now it's just, the patient records for this healthcare system in Ireland, but I think, if attacks like this continue, right, it's going to be patient records for somewhere a little bit closer to home. And what does that mean? Does it, how should we react? Should there be, new laws passed? Should we just post the data out there? Maybe we should just not assume that the data is private once we post it in the cloud. Should there be like a certification for websites so that, there's like a little checkbox that says, hey, I've done these, like an SSL certificate. I've done these things to prevent your data from being taken. I don't know any of those things. I guess I'm just asking random questions. But it is interesting because over the last 2 years, we've just seen, continuous barrage of all this data, little by little, from different systems, leaking out. And it's probably not many people left on Earth who haven't been in some way probably impacted. Maybe their email address was leaked in some compromise, or their password for some, music streaming service was possibly exposed from when they were a teenager. So, what do we do about that? Just big questions.
And questions that I think society we will be wrestling with for a long time. I mean, it's not something we're going to answer here during our little few-minute episode of ThreatTraq, but yeah, there's so much data about everybody out there in various places, and the people who hold all of this data rarely go through and remove anything. It just collects more and more and more. And I do think it's an issue, and I'm not sure that society really knows how to deal with that at this point.
It seems like this is something that we weren't ready for as a society, for something like this to happen. But certainly, I'm sure, I guess, the way will be shown to us as time goes on.